Good morning, everybody. We are here today taking a tour of AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Now, we're very excited about this tour because I'm just looking forward to seeing this facility. This is the home of the Dallas Cowboys of the NFL. I'm not a Cowboys fan, never have been, to be honest with you, but we're here at their stadium, and from what I've heard, this is an awesome place to visit, and it's something you got to see for yourself. So we have booked a tour this morning, and we're going to get to see a lot of behind-the-scenes places, like the locker rooms where they do the press conferences, where the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, their room, and also a lot of, I guess, historical things of players in the past. And then we're going to get to go down on the field. So I'm pretty excited about that. Shaughnessy's going to kick a 60-yard field goal for us today. There's no pressure. I told her it just needs to be done right. It needs to split the uprights. So she's going to do that for us today. So stay tuned for that. So we're going to go inside AT&T Stadium and see this place. So we're looking forward to this. So go with us. All right, here we are on the outside. I guess this is where we enter. We're so close to it now. There's no way I can show you how massive it is because we're up so close. I will get some shots later on and maybe insert them right here as we're leaving, but I'm just going to give you an idea of how big this thing is, and this is only a small part of it. I want to walk over here. I see a statue of Tom Landry, so I want to go see that. Okay, I'm going to get up close here. The writing is a little hard to see, but this is a statue of Thomas. I didn't know his middle name was Wade. I just learned something. Tom Landry, I do remember when he was their coach. He coached from 1960 to 1988, 28 years as the Cowboys coach. He had a career record of 270 wins, 178 losses, and 6 ties. And he was a Super Bowl champion in 1971 and 1977. And I'm just going off memory here, but I would say those were against, I'm going to say the Miami Dolphins and maybe the Denver Broncos. Somebody might want to check my history on that. But anyway, let me get block the sun here. This is Tom Landry, and yeah, never really pulled for him on the field, but he was a good man off the field, a God-fearing man, and pretty much well liked by everybody. All right, let's walk in here. Still got about 20 minutes into our tour, so. Here's a store. We'll go in there after the tour, I guess. All kinds of Cowboys merchandise. Oh wow, you can actually see, okay, I didn't realize what that was. You can actually see a game going on in that. Wow.
This is the Cowboys play. Dallas Cowboys. They don't play until it's August.
Do you want to go through?
We're just going through the stadium. We're look at all the cool stuff in the stadium. He's going to go.
In life, there are few things that are certain. When it comes to debating the greatest athlete of all time, each point to another.
An assassin personified that had that killer instinct.
Trophies.
Dallas Cowboys that I remember watching there. Drew Pearson, Tony Dorsett, Tom Landry. He was the coach. Staubach, Don Meredith. I remember watching all those guys. Randy White, Bob Hayes. That is one like Shaughnessy was just pointing out there. Couldn't get that in the living room, could we?
I don't know if we can get in the back.
By the third time, well, you're going directly to jail. Which is down
The guide was just explaining to us that that's the Cowboys sideline on the other side, and the star is always pointing, what do you say, to the south?
South. It's always pointing south.
I did not know that, but the star on the field there is always pointing towards the south and towards the Cowboys skyline, or Cowboys skyline, sideline. Sorry, getting tongue-tied this morning. That's very interesting. And he said that big screen will be on once we get to the other side, and we'll actually get to see it showing something. So I don't know if that's zoomed up enough, but they won the Super Bowl in '71 and in '77. Then again in '92, '93, and '95. That's 3 out of 4 years there. Oh, that's actually college. Looks like maybe Kansas State and TCU. So they must have played the bowl game here. High school games too. Yep, he's gone.
First time to AT&T Stadium today. Awesome. For those who have been here before, have we been to a Cowboys game? Cowboys game? Any other events that we've been to? Concerts? All right. So I see we do have a few Cowboy fans in our group today. Any other teams that we follow?
Panthers.
Ravens? Say again? Oh, Detroit? Right over there. We got a fan right over here as well, so don't worry. Oh, Washington.
Uh-oh.
This is where your tour ends.
I knew that was coming.
Just kidding, just kidding. We pass no judgment with Giants, Eagles, or
Tell him that we
Commanders.
won here on Thanksgiving
All
Day,
right, so,
33-14.
like I said, my name is Braden, and I'll be taking you on tour today. So, just a few quick things before we get started. We will be doing a little bit of walking to get to and from different parts of our stadium, and we will be using elevators and escalators. So is everyone okay with doing that? Perfect. Secondly, while on tour today, please feel free to be grabbing as many photos as you want to really help capture your time and experience here at the stadium. And lastly, our tour today will be about 90 minutes long to give you an ETA on when we should be back up here. So, here at AT&T Stadium, we have 8 levels in our stadium. We are currently on level number 3. This is what we call ground level. Where we're going to start is we're going to make our way into this club area right here, and then we're going to work our way up to the very top of the stadium and start working our way down, and then we will end up on the field for a few minutes at the very end of our tour today. So the people that help build this
The
stadium.
light fixture here is the shape of a football.
One thing you'll notice behind me, we have some flat screen TVs just above our serving area right here. We still hold the Guinness Book of World Records for the most flat screen TVs in a sports stadium. Does anyone want to take a guess as to how many we have in here? 3,000. 3,000? 18 million? That's a really good guess. I love it. I love it.
How many flat screen TVs?
2 million? Another great guess. I love it. Any other guesses? No? So, here at the stadium, we have over 3,500 flat screen TVs that are throughout our entire stadium. So you were the closest one. We want to make sure that no matter where.
So now we're all going to pile into this huge elevator. I guess he said go up first, right? Or we're going down.
We have heard it said that this does.
Okay, so we took the elevator up, I guess, to the top. It's like we're on the 4th level. Yeah, we're pretty close to the top. So just walking through the concession area. Yeah, we're high up. You can see Six Flags out that window there. By the way, we're staying right next to Six Flags over Texas. So I said the tour is going to be about an hour and a half. Obviously, I won't record all of it, but I will record the highlights.
Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and make our way over to the top of section 455 and 456. Just right
Out that window is Globe Life Field, home of the Texas Rangers. So we got the view from the east end zone.
So, construction on our stadium. How did this whole thing actually come to be? So, construction started in 2006 and it was completed in 2009. So it took, during the first year of it, looking out onto where the Cowboys field is currently and into the first bowl of seating, that is actually all underground. That is 50 feet below ground. Here at AT&T Stadium, we try and not waste anything. So the dirt that we dug out from there was used to build the George Bush Turnpike here in Dallas. We'll go ahead and start at the top of the stadium and work our way down. So looking up to our roof, thinking about any other sports stadium you might have been to, regardless of, we span the entire length of the stadium, and they are called monumental arches.
So there's no pillars or columns holding the roof up.
They are about a quarter of a mile long, stretched out from end to end. They are almost as tall as the Empire State Building. They are resisting about 19 million pounds of thrust.
Wow.
Now looking up to our retractable roof. The fabric that roof is made out of is called tensile membrane fabric. That is very similar to what you find on a trampoline. Our roof, it takes approximately 10 minutes for it to open. 2 panels are going to open. One towards us on the east and the other to the west. Each panel weighs roughly about 1.2 million pounds. Now about our roof. How often do we actually open it? So, before a game or an event starts, stadium management is going to decide on several factors. A couple as an example would be the time of day a game is happening and the kind of weather we might be having. Amongst other factors, that is going to determine whether or not our roof gets open. Now, the rule is, if our roof is open, it has to stay open during the entirety of the game or the event before it can actually shut. In just a second, when we look out onto our plaza, you'll be able to see how big these really are. But on either side of our stadium, we have the world's largest retractable glass doors. They take approximately 6 minutes to open. So in about 15-16 minutes, you can open our roof and end zone doors, and our stadium transforms into the look and feel of an outdoor stadium that you go to. Now the rule is, if our end zone doors are 1,000 tons of air conditioning.
There are some other names of Cowboy players from the past on this side that I didn't get. From the first side, Darren Woodson, Charles Haley, Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Larry Allen.
The larger ones are going to be about the size of what happened here at the stadium.
So I guessed the number of seats correct at 80,000, which I actually looked it up last night, so I knew.
We had just over 108,000 in this building. The very first Cowboys game that ever got played here, we had just over 105,000 people at that game. Now, how we can fit that many in here, where we are standing right now is called the standing room only platform. There are 3 of them on this side to the east and 3 across from us to the west. In addition to these standing room only platforms, we have over 350 luxury suites that are spread throughout the stadium. So it can be very easy for us to fit a whole bunch of people in here. In total, you can seat several thousand in these standing room only platforms. 2 questions we get. How big is this stadium really, and how tall is it? So, how many of you remember Texas Stadium where the Cowboys played before here? So for those of you that remember it, Texas Stadium, it was 900,000 square feet. AT&T Stadium is 3 million.
Wow. Over 3
How
times.
tall is our stadium? From the bottom of the playing surface where the Cowboys field is up to the top of our retractable roof, that is 320 feet tall. This means you could fit the Statue of Liberty in here, pedestal and all. Her torch would still not touch the roof. She is only about 305 feet tall.
Wow.
We'll go ahead and
I
come
think it's
over this way and
340.
look out onto our plaza.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How close is this location to Texas Stadium where it was?
So Texas Stadium was in the Irving area.
Okay.
So traffic, it would take you roughly about 25 or so
Gotcha.
minutes from here to get to Irving.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. They did, yeah. So they demolished it. They have had plans in the past to like either put
Out there you can see a little bit of it. Before the roller coasters there.
So it goes down another 70.
And this is almost like building a bridge through the stadium where the arches begin at the concrete there and just pretty much go. That's pretty impressive.
All right, so we'll stop outside of their lobby right here, and we'll look.
I do believe I said Tennessee Volunteer helmet. Looks like Missouri, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, 2 Tennessee helmets. Florida State, Miami, USC, Colorado, Clemson, LSU, a bunch of them. I ain't gonna name them all.
I know.
Alrighty, welcome to
Former
the
Tennessee
Everyday
volunteer
Working
Jason
Offices
Witten
for the
played here at
Cotton Bowl.
Dallas.
So, why in the world would we have a stop dedicated completely? And they asked if they could use their field. So, for the first 12 years that the Cowboys were a football team, that's where they played their home games. When AT&T Stadium was built and they moved over here, they asked the Cotton Bowl if they wanted and their office space over here. So now the game gets played here every year, part of the New Year's Six, part of the college football bowl season. Does anyone want to take a guess? It's the
Also
first
just
one.
learned that Jerry Jones, number 61, actually played football at Arkansas. I did
Say
not
again?
know that. He's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
So the
But here's
first
an
one was
offensive
Jimmy
lineman.
Johnson.
for Arkansas.
He was his roommate during his time
Did
at
not know that.
Arkansas.
All right, going down Super Bowl alley now. So what did he say? The color photos is for the Jerry Jones ownership, and the black and white are when Tom Landry was coach, right? But these are the years they won the Super Bowl. I remember those against Buffalo. They slaughtered them.
It's fun. Been there a lot. It's gonna bring you home. With Buffalo.
Jimmy Johnson coach, Jerry Jones owner.
All right, so my group will just pull up right here for just a second. Dallas Cowboys that have been photographed and placed here at the stadium that hold very big significance. These three photos right here tell a very unique story. And before we get point these photos out, so how many of you have ever heard of the Hail Mary pass?
Mm-hmm.
Did we know that started with Cowboys? So, for any of you that might not know this story, back in the 1970s, the Minnesota Vikings were one of the most dominant teams in professional football. They were playing the Cowboys in the 1975 divisional playoff game. The winner of this game would then go on to the conference championship game for the NFC. That's the conference that the Cowboys are in. And then the winner of that game would then have the opportunity to represent the NFC at the Super Bowl. So, Roger Staubach, who was our quarterback at the time, in the final seconds of this game, he told his receivers, his teammates, I need you to run down the field as far as you possibly can, and I'm going to try and get you the ball. He then throws about a 50-yard pass in the final seconds of this game to our original 88, Drew Pearson. For any of you unfamiliar with that term, Drew Pearson was one of the first ones to actually wear number 88. Michael Irvin, who would later come on after, this was before his time with the franchise. So that's what I mean by original 88. So Drew Pearson catches the ball, as you see it right there, and he runs in for what would be the go-ahead touchdown to beat the Vikings. Now, a little bit of controversy on this play. Mind you, this was during the time where there was really no way of having instant replay like we have now, so they had no real way of actually going back and looking at this play over again. So they think that, some people anyway, think that Drew Pearson pushed off his defender as he was running. In football, that would be a penalty flag, the play would not have counted, and it would have been stopped. Now, number 24 on the Vikings, he's pointing at something that's just directly beneath number 22's knee. Does anyone want to take a guess as to what that object could be? It's a little bit bigger than a golf ball. One might think it is a snowball because it was very cold that day and it was up in Minnesota, but it actually isn't.
Baseball.
It's about the size of a baseball.
Tennis ball.
It's about the size of a tennis ball. Any other guesses? It's actually an orange. The Super Bowl that year was going to be played at the Orange Bowl in Miami. The fans were so convinced that the Vikings were going to easily beat the Cowboys that their fans brought oranges to the game. Now, I did hear someone say, and I don't know who it was, a penalty flag. Now, I've heard it said through other tour guides who have had the opportunity to listen to Drew Pearson tell his side of the story. So, he says on this play, he did see the flash of color come across his vision, this orange that found its way to the field. But he's never seen a penalty flag roll. He's also never been taught to stop running until he hears a whistle, and he did not hear a whistle. So that's why he kept running in for what would be the touchdown to beat the Vikings. Now, after the game was over, the press were asking Mr. Staubach, what were you thinking when you threw that final pass? Being the good Catholic boy that he is, he said, I closed my eyes, threw the ball as far as I possibly could, and I said a Hail Mary. The press picked up on it, and the very next day the headlines read something to the effect of, Cowboys win on a Hail Mary. So this photo right here, before we move on, as you can imagine, the Vikings fans were so beyond devastated that their team had just lost to the Cowboys. So you can see some of the shocked expressions right here from some of the fans, even from some of the grounds crew that's down here wearing these white jumpsuits, except for our one lone Cowboys fan who decided to brave the Minnesota weather and make his way up there. And to our knowledge, they're still looking for him to this day. We'll go ahead and come over this way to our suite.
Pretty neat little seating area right here. So what is this exactly? Just a little, yeah, a little suite. Oh, nice comfortable chairs here.
We have suites that you can lease out for one game or one event. We also have suites that run on leases for 10, 20, upwards of 30 years. When you have a suite, you can customize it to your liking. So we've had people bring in coffee tables, chairs, rugs, pictures. The one thing though that they cannot change is the seating arrangement as you see it right now. The reason for that, during a game or an event, usually there is going to be a camera that pans around the entire stadium. They want to make sure that if the camera happens to go past the suite that you're in, it looks the same like everywhere else, and any changes that you've made to it are as subtle as possible.
Right now in the press box. This is how the press watches the
You
game.
can go anywhere on these 3 rows right here, wherever you feel most comfortable. So this is closed press. This is going to be for people to actually kind of cover the game for the news. In just a second, I'll point out where the coordinators sit.
What's that on? NFL Observer did not unplug column.
So go on ahead, come on in and sit down. We'll be here. When Jerry Jones was building this stadium, one thing that he had in mind, he wanted to make sure that the fans who came here, regardless of whether it was to a Cowboys game or to any other event that happened here, he wanted them to have the best possible experience and leave with the desire to want to come back. So he figured that since the press were already well taken care of enough anyways, he decided to leave them in the corner and leave the middle of the playing field open for everyone else. Now, in this room right here, we can see 300 written press. Brings up the question, do all of them get the opportunity to interview players and coaches after the game is over? Not everyone does. Usually before the game or the event starts, they'll be given a credential or a pass. This will allow them to actually go down to the field after the game is over and interview players and coaches.
Where do you go to?
All right. We're just about to conclude the tour. I know we're going to go on the field. I thought we were going to go in some of the locker rooms. I'm not sure. Maybe that's what we're going to do now. So we'll see.
Here, we've had a lot of things that we've been able to collect over the years as souvenirs, if you will. So I'll just point out a few of the things that we've posted. So we hosted WrestleMania WWE at least twice, the most recent one being about a year ago. We hosted the 2015 National Championship between Ohio State and Oregon. We hosted boxing. We hosted the NCAA Final Four. We have been the host of the NFL Draft before. That's going to be going on for today and the rest of the rounds tomorrow. We've also hosted the ACM Awards. We've hosted a number of music concerts here. We've also held the Rose Bowl here. That game was brought here during COVID when California could not host the game, so they brought the game here. And then this is El Toro Loco's door that came off during the Monster Jam event in 2020.
All right, next up is the cheerleaders locker room, and got a group coming out now, so we're getting ready to go in.
You can take pictures to the side. No worries. Also, if y'all wouldn't mind just kind of scooting to the side real quick so this gentleman...
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here it tells the names of the cheerleaders, and I'm going to try to be very quick going across here just because this is a part of the tour. But it tells what state they're from. Got a couple from North Carolina, where we're from.
How nice they're like.
So the ones that usually have the most experience, they're going to be on this wall right over here. And then the director of the cheerleaders is Kelly Fineglass. Her office is right through here.
This is the locker room. So.
Alrighty, welcome to the locker room for the world famous Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Now, question, how, did someone applaud? I love it. Appreciate that, appreciate that. So, how many of you have ever seen the reality TV show Making the Team? Did not exist as you see them right now. They actually had to have local. It wasn't until much later that the cheer squad was created as you see them right now. So, now, one question we get asked. Do the veterans ever get guaranteed a return spot on the team? They do not. They have to try out every single year along with the rookies. So they're basically working off of what you might call a one-year contract. So, Amanda, over in this corner, she's being hid by the wall. Over to Xenia. Those are going to be your rookies. Usually the ones that have the least amount of experience, they're going to be over in this corner. Now, starting with Ashlyn and working your way around to Victoria on this side of the wall right here, you are going to have your second, third, and fourth year veterans. Now, one question we get asked. How long has been the longest tenured cheerleader that you have had? To our knowledge, the longest anyone has ever been a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader is 8 seasons. Behind me right here, we have the Omni Hotel in Frisco near their practice facility. The day before a home game, the equipment staff from Frisco will bring in 4,000 pounds of equipment and 1,500 towels into the locker room. One of the last things that they'll do is they'll put a chair in. All right,
Heading into the locker room now.
Anything that they're setting out, please just go ahead.
I believe he said defense is on left. No, I'm sorry. Offense is on left, defense is on right. So, I believe that's the kicker. T.Y. Hilton.
So as you're in
I believe he was a
here,
Colt
you're gonna notice that
when
there
we
are a
saw
bunch
him
of
at
photos
Panther
that are
Stadium playing
surrounding
against
the
the
lockers
Panthers.
right up here. These are Dallas
Could be
Cowboys
wrong on
players
that.
who made the Pro Bowl, the NFL's All-Star game at least 3 times during their career here with the Cowboys. Tyrone Smith and Zach Martin in these corners over here. They are still the only 2 current players that have made it up onto
Dak
this list.
Prescott,
DeMarcus Ware, number 94,
former Mississippi
right there.
State
Chuck
quarterback,
Howley, number
been a
54,
quarterback here
on this wall
for
right here.
several years
Vultures
now.
will be named to the next enshrinee class.
Maybe
That's
4 or
going to
5.
be getting enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in August.
Just trying to get all these really quick.
Yes, so there will be more names that do get put up here eventually. I don't know exactly how they're.
Give you an overview
I
here
would
of the
think
locker
something
room.
like that, but yeah, there will be more names that get put up here. Yeah, so yeah, this is their actual family locker room that they use. So yeah, anything that you see that's going in here, like a one game out of the game, this is the room that they're in.
Wow, a lot of them, man.
Yeah, like anything, like all that happens in here.
Is the visitor's locker room similar to the names?
As far as I know, it's fairly similar. Obviously, they don't get the same kind of exotic wood or some of the same setup that they have in here, but it's a pretty similar layout. Their locker room is going to be on the other side of the stadium. I've heard he did sign his name in the visitor's locker. Yeah, that's what I've been told. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. His signature is yeah. Yeah, I think that's on my right hand side. That is from that interview, or from that press conference. Rather, sorry.
Kind of look like Jerry up there.
A little bit of resemblance. All right. Welcome to the post-game interview room. That little pathway that we use, that is the same pathway that Cowboys players and coaches will use to come into this room. Now, normally, this will be set up with a lot of different chairs. That'll be set up for the people that have the proper credentials to be down here, like I mentioned earlier, that were given to them before the game actually started. These seats will be set up for them.
Looks like they got rolls of turf up there. Interesting. I'm ready to get on the field. I want to see you kick that field goal. Looks like that's where we're getting ready to be. All right, folks. Chauncey's going to kick a 60-yarder.
That's all he has. All right. So my group, we will have other people down here who will help get you back up to entry A when you are done. Thank you all so much for being here today. Safe travels home to wherever we might call home. Thank you all so much for being here today. Also, if you got a souvenir photo earlier, we would definitely highly encourage you to visit the photo op that you got it from, so that way you can buy a souvenir photo before you leave the stadium today. Thank you all so much for being here today. Enjoy.
Offside, 5 yards back.
I'll tell you, standing on this field, it's actually very soft. It's a lot softer than to me, it would be a little harder to run on. But I wouldn't expect it to be this soft, were you?
No, I wasn't. I guess if I had a bigger
So this is not the only NFL stadium I've ever been in, but it's officially the only field I've ever been on. So. Okay, Shaughnessy has declined to kick that 60-yard field goal. Tell us your reasons why you're not going to do it now.
Well, because where I'd have to stand, it would go up so high, it would hit.
Oh, you're worried about
there,
hitting the bottom of the...
yeah.
Yeah.
Then they'd
I
have to
could
worry
see
about
that.
moving it with the pulleys and stuff.
They said that actually that is on a pulley system because a few punters and kickers have hit the bottom of it.
And I would be one of those.
Yeah. So, I think they said it's, what, 90 feet above us?
90,
Yeah. So that's interesting. So I'm going to go down here to the end zone. That's where, when I play football, I spend most of my time is in the end zone. So, we're down here by the end zone. Yeah, it looks like I'm in the middle of somebody's game right here. Like I say, when I played football, I spent most of my time in the end zone. I was actually the star tailback on our football team. And I say star tailback because every time I get up to go in the game, the coach would look at me and say, "Get your tailback on the bench." So I actually didn't play high school football. I was always a baseball player, but I haven't really played a whole lot of football, but I like to play it for the football. But yeah, this is something else seeing this field. It's a different perspective than watching it on TV. It actually, to be honest with you, it looks bigger on TV.
It does.
Don't it?
It does.
Than what the field actually is. But it's still it's something else just to be on the field knowing that you're right here where it all happens.
Yep.
So anyway, that's that. So we're going to say a few more words outside and give our final thoughts on the tour. Okay, tour lasted a little longer than we thought, so I'm just going to walk through here really quick. Let you have an idea. What all they got, kinds of jerseys, hats, a lot of hats. It's more like youth sizes up here. Footballs, metal signs, a little bit of everything.
Technically, it should already be correct. Yeah. It's not. Just write down your sizes, write down what you need. Make sure
to give the right text. Okay.
You want you a Cowboys golf club bag or a Cowboys suitcase? I wouldn't even want to know what you pay, just have that star on it.
Here I go. So you'll read her whenever she does 30 minutes. When she gets back at 1, you'll go at 1. 30 minutes, please. Be back at 1.
Alright, there's the souvenir shop. Okay, folks, we just finished up our tour of AT&T Stadium. It actually took close to 2 hours to complete. They said about 90 minutes, but a lot of people had questions and got to go on the field and kind of take our time there. So I'll let Shaughnessy start and tell her what she thought of her tour of AT&T Stadium today.
Well, I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not big on, football or anything like that, but just hearing about the stadium, how it was built and the size of it, just being inside there, that was pretty interesting. And then just to get to see all the behind the scene stuff, that was pretty interesting too. So where the press sits, being out there where the players are and stuff like that. So actually being able to walk on the field, I thought that was pretty neat. 'Cause I can only imagine, your first time ever just being surreal, like, I'm playing on this field. That would probably be pretty neat to do. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, would you do it again?
Yeah, I would. It was worth it.
Would you recommend it?
I would.
All right. Yeah, like I said, growing up, I was into football growing up. I've kind of gotten more away from the NFL and more into college football in my later years. But growing up, I was a big college pro football fan. And before we had the Panthers, I was a Pittsburgh Steeler, and we used to whip up on the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Did it a couple of times. Then they returned the favor back in the 90s, I think. So anyway, I grew up a Pittsburgh fan. Then kind of went through a stage where I liked Washington, and that was another Cowboys hated rival. So I grew up honestly hating the Cowboys, but it was a pleasure to be in the stadium today. It's a really nice facility, and whether you're a fan of the Cowboys or not, if you're in this area, you do need to take this tour. And I can imagine, I think it would be a great place to attend a game. Just the atmosphere inside and some of the things that went into building this stadium were just unbelievable. I learned a lot of things today. I had heard about the Hail Mary pass for years. That's when a team is about to lose and they just heave the ball up in the air into the end zone and hope their guy catches it for the game winner. That's a term that's been used for years. I did not know that originated with Drew Pearson and him catching that pass against the Minnesota Vikings. We've got a Minnesotan here. She enjoyed hearing that, every minute of that. So, but anyway, it's a really neat stadium. It's I don't know what to say about it. They do a lot of other things here besides football, but it's mainly known as the home of the Dallas Cowboys. So I would definitely, if you're in this area, you got to do this tour. You got to do it. It's very interesting. You do get to go on the field. That was probably the highlight of it, is just actually being down there where the players are at. So anyway, I would definitely recommend it. If you're in Arlington, Texas, or anywhere Dallas-Fort Worth area, you got to do the tour of AT&T Stadium. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a long one, but there was a lot to show you, and there's a lot I didn't show you because it would have been a lot longer. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like and give it a thumbs up and subscribe.
And find us on Facebook.
And we appreciate it, and have a blessed day.